Good morning, everyone. My name is Animart Bahulay, BSIT Food Technology 36 of Bohol Island State University Main Campus, CITAS Department. And this is the topic given by our precious teacher, Ma'am Marusmin Abilia. And the topic is productivity. This is my partner, Jundre Catalino Bangod. Introduction. The productivity is the output of any production process per unit of input. Next is to increase productivity means to produce more with less. Next is in factories and corporation, productivity is a measure of the ability to create goods and service from a given amount of labor, capital, materials, land, resources, knowledge, time, or any combination of those. Next is output per unit of input employed. Next is increased productivity on the part of capital and labor. Let's move on this productivity. The productivity is one of the primary responsibilities of a manager is to achieve productive use of an organization resources. The productivity is the efficiency of production of goods or services expressed by some measure, and measurements of productivity are often expressed as ratio of an aggregate output to a single input or an aggregate input used in the production process. The output per unit of input typically over a specific period of time. Let's move on in the importance of productivity. The importance of productivity is first is reduction in the cost of raw material. Next is reduction in labor cost per unit of output. Next is reduction in the overheads and power cost per unit. The reduction of price of goods. Increase in wage and salaries. Taas og sweldo. Increase in the reserve fund that can be utilized for expansion and modernization. Next is the computing productivity. The computing productivity can be measured the amount of output per unit of input. In a factory, it might be measured based on the number of hours it takes to produce a good, while in the service industry might be measured based on the income generated by an employee divided by his or her salary. And this is the example of output and input. Okay, so let's move on to the definition and equation. Productivity is the ratio of output and input in any organization. Output is in the form of product quantity and input is in the form of resources. The resources are in the form of, the example is land acquired. Next is salaries paid to employees. This is amount paid to purchase material and amount spent in infrastructure. And this is the productivity and ang nakuan sa productivity is partial and total. The example of the partial productivity is the resources of productivity when measured separately are called partial productivity. The apple-to-apple comparison. Partial productivity equals to output in a given period divided to labor hours used in period. And the examples of partial productivity measures. The labor productivity. First is units of output per labor hour. Next is units of output per shift. Next is value added per labor hour. And next is peso dollar value of output per labor hour. Peso or dollar na. And the machine productivity. Units of output per machine hour. Dollar or peso value of output per machine hour. The capital productivity. Units of output per dollar or peso input. Next is dollar or peso value of output per dollar or peso input. The energy productivity, units of output per kilowatt hour. And next is dollar or peso value of output per kilowatt hour. Productivity. First is the method of calculating the productivity considering all the resources is called total productivity. Next is innovated by David G. Somant, and it is a systematic and qualitative approach to compete in quality, price, and time. Total productivity approach provides systematic framework and structure to an organization and increase profitable. This is the one. The total productivity equals to total output, then divide to total input. And let's move on to the productivity benefits. The productivity benefits is first is increase in income profit or profitability, and lowering running cost or operational cost, and maximizing the use of all of the company's resources such as land, equipments or machineries, factory, workers, and etc. Next is gaining a greater share of the market. And next is more cash flows, mean more opportunity for the company to expand and grow. The productivity in the service sector. Service productivity is more problematic than manufacturing. The productivity in many situations it's more difficult to measure and thus to manage because it involves intellectual activities and high degree variability. And let's move on is the reasons that productivity is difficult to improve in the service sector. Sample is the productivity is the measure of an organization's ability to produce a good or a service, while organizations that produce goods can point to the total finished number of products are evidence. It's notoriously difficult to measure the service sector's productivity. And next is the quality versus quantity. One reason that increasing productivity in the service sector is difficult is that raising the number of customers help doesn't necessarily increase the quality of service they're provided. And the measurement difficulties. Because measuring productivity is so difficult in the service sector, it's difficult to know how much productivity has increased according to Qualtrics. And efficiency and productivity. The increased productivity leads to a reduction in staffing required. One way a non-service sector company can increase productivity is by producing more goods with same or smaller amount of input. And last is the improving service sector productivity. Because productivity in the service sector is difficult to measure and improve. There are a lot of difficulties of increasing labor productivity. And that's all. And this is my motto. Don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done. Thank you.